Broncos country, we are back. We are live. This is Mic'd Up. I'm your host, Mike Carmelini, and joining me tonight, two of the best in Broncos country, Ryan Edwards of KOA Radio, Coach Mike Sanford, back again from Altitude Sports. Gentlemen, you survived the snowstorm, Mike, to get here. Thanks a lot, Coach. And Ryan, first time on. Thank you so much for coming on. How you boys doing tonight? Mike, you go first. You were late.
Yeah, you know what? I wanted
You're always late.
I wanted our esteemed guest from KOA here, Ryan Edwards, the guy who I listen to oftentimes after Broncos games driving home. So, it's great to be on with you, Ryan. I just to throw it out there, your other the guy that you work with on a regular basis, he would never be late to this. Dave Logan, would he? He would not have been late. He would have been perfectly on time.
Listen, if you want to win high school championships, there's only one way to do it, and Dave has made a career out of it. So, I'm not saying that you'll never win it, but again, Dave has a way of doing things, and he's never late.
Are you guys in the same division class? Do you compete against each other?
5A, yep, it'll be 5A state championship. Will go. It always goes through Cherry Creek and Dave Logan.
Wow. So you're faced with beating Dave Logan or getting canned in like 2 or 3 years. Is that basically okay? I was just
what you sign up for, man.
Okay.
You know what, at the end of the day, doesn't scare me.
That's right.
I spent the better part of the last 2 decades of my life in similar scenarios. So here we are.
As your father did, right?
I'll just say it like this, Mike. I'll just say it like this. You come for the king, better not miss.
Oh my gosh, here we go. Dave Logan doesn't need you talking smack for him.
That's my guy. Hey, listen, man,
he's all our guy.
I just talked to him on the phone earlier today, actually, which is hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah, I was scheduling JV and freshman games. We don't play Cherry Creek regular season on varsity, but I wanted to get some of our younger players a taste of playing against the Cherry Creek Bruins, baby. So
let's go. Hey, before we get going, guys, I do want to touch on something. It's a busy time for the draft. It's a great time to be a Broncos fan, but there's another school in town in Boulder, and just to the north of you, and they're retiring a couple numbers out there. 2 and 12 are retiring before Aaron Rodgers retires. This seems a little batshit crazy to me. Maybe it's just me. Coach, you got thoughts on this? Deion Sanders is calling his shot, and I guess I'm curious what you guys think of all this.
Well, I'm going to start out and say, are you surprised at all? And should you be surprised? And the answer is no. There's been nothing about the way that Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, has done his business in the last 2 years as the head football coach of the CU Buffs, this place that I was at right before he got there, that has been conventional. Nothing has been conventional whatsoever. He's going to do things his way. And when you hire Coach Prime, who is truly he is a tour de force, right? He is going to come in and he is going to transform the way you think, the way you operate, the way you do things. So nothing surprises me whatsoever. You can disagree with it. We in the media can disagree with it, but you're not going to change it. And clearly Deion Sanders and Coach Prime is fully in charge up in Boulder.
Oh yeah. Fully in charge
and answers to no one. Truly answers to no one. So this should come as absolutely no surprise whatsoever. And I think it's just another great example on what would have been a otherwise very, I'd say, almost boring spring game this Saturday. All of a sudden, the entire college football world and the media world's talking about the CU Buffs, and that's what Coach Prime continues to do. He puts CU in the spotlight, and it's bigger than any other spotlight in college football.
Yeah. Ryan Edwards, KOA, what do you say?
I think that's really well put. He doesn't have a problem with getting attention, and this is certainly an attention grabber. When I think I saw somewhere the other day, like the bodies aren't even cold yet from the season, and we're already putting these guys in. And in a lot of ways, Coach and I, we didn't go to CU, so it feels weird to have a super hot take on it. Like I think if I went to CU and I played at CU, right, like a lot of the alumni are coming out and very vocal about. I think that I'd feel a little bit different about it, especially when you're not honoring the history. And there was a lot of history, Coach Prime, before you got there, believe it or not. But the thing about it is I tend to probably side a little bit with the alumni here because it's an interesting precedent to set. Because now it's like, okay, well, maybe we could argue Shador because of the numbers that he put up there in the 2 years that he did. That warrants him being in consideration for the best quarterback to ever play at CU. I don't believe that. I think Darian Hagan is still that guy, but for the what it is right now, he's the quarterback that's on the well, he will be on Saturday. And again, he has a lot of stats, but he went 13-11. Didn't win a national championship. Didn't even win his own conference. So it's an interesting discussion point. The timing for me continues to be the thing that I talk about a lot. I mean, Dave's been ranting for several days now, and I don't blame him. I think there's a lot to be frustrated about from an alumni standpoint. I just keep coming back to, okay, the logic behind it, right? What are we doing this for, right? It can't be just about ego. And so if it's not just about ego, it's about ego. But if it's not just about ego, then it's also about recruiting, in my opinion. Maybe it's a little bit of padding the stats of Shador Sanders or padding the accolades of Shador Sanders as he's getting ready to enter the draft, because we don't really know what Shador's going to be at the pro level. I think we all like the idea of what he could be, but you just never know. So I feel like there's some other things at work here that don't tend to get the coverage because we're all very passionate about it here locally, especially the alumni. But taking from a more of a 20,000-foot view, the why is very important to me. And I keep coming back to, hey, this is a recruiting weekend. Spring game, you're going to be on national TV. You're putting these numbers up in the rafters, and then you get to bring these kids in and say, hey, didn't take long for these guys to make a name for themselves, and you could be the next one. So for me, that's what this is a little bit of about, on top of the fact that he gets to really cement his legacy. Like whatever he does from here on out, his legacy is going to be part of Folsom. And we're going to see Shador Sanders a part of it every single Saturday.
Yeah. I'm with you. I thought the question, I don't know if it was today, someone asked him, was trying to ask him a question, and before they could even get the question out, Dion is, if his last name wasn't Sanders, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And I bet half of Colorado went, yeah, because this wouldn't be happening if his name wasn't Sanders. I don't think that answer came out the way he intended it, and I don't think he cares.
He doesn't
think
care,
he's all about what he wants for his kids. And I'm that way to a fault sometimes too, but man, this move to me, it just is strange. And I just wanted your guys' take on it because it just seems odd.
One last thought that I've had about it is, Coach Prime has, I think, been ahead or at least 2 steps ahead of everybody else in the college football world of this NIL transfer portal. And what even 5 years ago, when I was in the height of my coaching world, you do have to consider the past and the history and the tradition. But the bottom line is the current college football landscape is about your roster that 1 year. You are coaching for your job that 1 year, period. It doesn't matter about what came before you. And frankly, it doesn't matter about developing a program 2, 3, 4 years down the road. It's about, like right now, it's about the 2025 fall season. And it's about getting the right group of portal players to jump into it. Anything else is honestly, it's just BS. People are just playing the game because they will get rid of you quickly.
Yeah,
if you don't.
It's a corporate world. It's a corporate mentality. They're going to get rid of you.
Yeah, really quick though, and I agree with you on that, and I 100% agree with what college football is now. But he said a word today that I don't think I think he intended to understand what it actually means, and that's a steward. He is a steward for CU and for the history of CU to a certain extent. And he said, well, I can't really honor the players of the past because I'm probably going to leave somebody out. And I'm like, that's kind of a bit of a cop-out. Like nobody's asking you to honor every single player that ever played at CU, but to have a decent understanding of some of the greats and to start there. Like to start with who you know. He mentioned Westbrook, he mentioned Cordell. Like, okay, fine, start there. They're players you know. So nobody is saying, hey, you had to know Dion Figures, right? You had to know, nobody's saying you had to know the entire history of it. I just felt like today's press conference was a lot of deflection and a lot of cop-out. You mentioned that he said, hey, we're only talking about this is because the last name Sanders. They say that about everything. That's literally the response to
Yeah.
any kind of criticism ever is it's because of my last name is Sanders, and that's why you're criticizing me. So
Yeah.
I think you nailed it there, Coach. I think that's exactly what college football is, and it is the now. It's always the now, but you are a steward of that university, and there was history before you. And again, you don't have to spend every single day, but you do have to respect it. And if you talk to a lot of the alumni, they're not feeling the love right now, not at all, and they're not feeling a lot of appreciation for what they've done to put CU on the map up until you finally got here and resurrected it.
Yep. Well done. Both of you guys. Love your takes and agree with you 100%. And there are people there that he could talk to about history if he doesn't know it.
Yes.
I'm sure there's someone in the building that might know who Dave Logan was, just as a thought. All right, guys. April 17th, 2025. Coach, a lot's changed since the last time I had you on. We picked up a safety, a linebacker, possibly an ace, which, by the way,
Well played.
I went with ace.
Yep.
And
not Joker.
then you flipped me and went Joker about 2 weeks later. You gave up the fight. I was fighting the good fight with you.
No, it was a Freudian slip. Please forgive me.
Okay, so it was an accident. All right,
Yeah.
no points deducted. But I do want your shiny new State of the Union as we sit here today because, we're a couple, not too far from the draft, but there have been some changes. What do you say to Broncos country? How we doing?
Well, I'm going to start off with just saying that the offseason was a big win for the Denver Broncos. And I think any elite football team, baseball team, NASCAR team is built well down the middle, right? And you look at it, I love the baseball analogy, catcher, pitcher, middle infielder, center fielder. And that's what the Denver Broncos did on the defensive side of the ball. You signed DJ Jones. You anchor your nose tackle, your interior defensive line. You sign arguably one of the biggest game wreckers at the linebacker position in Dre Greenlaw when healthy. And then you sign another guy that just creates big plays, is a bit of a headhunter, and adds a little bit of physicality and length to the back end, right down the middle in your box safety with Talanoa Hufanga. I love what the Broncos have done on the defensive side of the ball. And as a result, I don't think you need to do much on the from a drafting perspective on the defensive side of the ball. Everything on that side of the ball from a drafting standpoint, it becomes about luxury. And I think it's given you the opportunity in a draft that might be a little bit boring on the top end, but really, really rich rounds 2 through 5. It gives the Denver Broncos an opportunity to really add to the pieces that surround Bo Nix. And I don't think that you're in a position outside of running back right now that you are panicking, that you absolutely have to hit. Now, I do believe you got to hit on running back. And that's the only position that is a pure necessity. And that's why I have a very strong take that if indeed Ashton Jeanty falls out of the top 6, you move the Rocky.
Here it comes.
You get there and you draft Ashton Jeanty. Why? Because he is Saquon Barkley. He is.
Because he's from Boise State.
No, because he's the best running back in the last 5 years of the draft. That's why.
Attaboy. Love it. Great take. Ryan Edwards, what are your thoughts? Give us State of the Union for Broncos country. I know they're dying to hear what you think of the team as it sits here today.
Yeah, I mean, I think Coach, he got me fired up. That's good stuff, Coach. Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, you're right. I mean, you use free agency in order to put yourself in a position where you're not desperate going into the draft. And I think even they would say they're not desperate at running back in part because this was the plan all along. It's a deep draft. Every single time George or Sean were asked about the draft, they brought up the running back position. They brought up tight ends as well. But even then, I think there was an acknowledgement that they want some experience in that room, and that's why they went with Evan Ingram, who gives them really, in a lot of ways, what they probably would have liked to have had last year is a guy that's going to be reliable, especially on third down, to be able to pick up some of those, third and medium, third and short option plays that, and whether you want to call him a joker, an ace, any of those kinds of things. I think the reality is just reliable hands. And a guy that is used to being in that role. Plus, he's got some speed as well, so you can send him on some of those deep seam routes. But yeah, I think just giving yourself some more options with receivers, and then that includes the running backs coming out of the backfield. I wouldn't be shocked if the Broncos went with 2 running backs in this upcoming draft, and they'll be eyeing one at 20. Maybe they consider a trade up if they so deem it. And then I do think that they're going to be looking one at day 3 because the fact is, you can't. It's a position that obviously deals with injuries. But one of the things I've always respected about Sean and his Saints offenses is there's a specific role, a designed role for everybody. Everybody's got a place. And there's exact reason why you're on the roster. You know, whether you're Darren Sproles or whether you're Reggie Bush or Alvin Kamara or Mark Ingram, any one of these running backs, and each one I described, you picture immediately in your mind and have a different idea of what they did and what they did really well. And Sean always had a plan for those guys. So for me, you come into this thing, you can draft on strength. You could draft a defensive lineman there because you just watched the Philadelphia Eagles with all of that D-line depth that continued to rotate in, win a Super Bowl. And so you say that wouldn't be a bad direction to go because you got two guys that are on one-year contracts. I think they're going to take D-line anyways at some point. But you do put yourself in an advantageous position because you filled the holes you had to absolutely fill in free agency, and now you get to enter the draft, and you could just add depth / add playmakers and really kind of take this team into a new direction or a new level, knowing that Bo Nix in year 2 should improve on his play as he has more time in this system, as well as the rest of the offense and the team around him.
Yeah. Well done. First time on, he's kicking your ass, Coach. Jeez, how does that feel?
No, I thought Coach killed
Did you knew that was coming, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes with the territory. The thing I love about
you,
you,
win
Mike,
last time you were on?
Yeah, but the thing I love about you, man, is that you get caught up in the emotion, and you love the comeback story. So you're gonna let me kind of get a big deficit here, and ultimately, you're just gonna build this thing up because you're the true showman yourself. So I'll come back late. The script's already written. This is WWE, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, it is. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Let's not pretend otherwise. Hey, we're talking about D-line, defensive tackle. I think that run on, the D-line is probably going to come right around 15.
You're right.
And that's right where we are. I mean, I'm all about Amari Hampton. I'm all about, trading up for Genty. I mean, I want weapons for Bo. I've been very public about that. I'm still on with Loveland. I mean, I know that kind of disappeared, but I still love that kid. And, but you know what? I mean, people I know that I respect, they like a lot of these guys. And, it's kind of that one position that helps because the NFL is cyclical, right? So it's pass heavy. And then all of a sudden, now everybody wants to run because they saw what happened last year. And the one position that kind of helps both of those is interior defensive line. I mean, they can affect both of those games. And so I don't think it would be bad, but yeah, I mean, just to expand on that a little bit, Coach, let's start with you. What do you think? Would you, I mean, you're not going to be sad if they get, Derek Harmon or Nolan or somebody in the first, are you? You're going to be all right with that.
I am. The only thing I have a challenge, be a little bit on the fence with is you did so much in your offseason acquisitions defensively. I mean, you really went out and you used the famous word in these parts, bolstered your interior of your defense. And you did that by spending money. To Ryan's point, you do have several interior defensive linemen that are on short-term deals. So I do think that would make sense. I just think that the opportunity to move the needle for your sophomore quarterback in order to avoid the sophomore slump, I think you got that chance to do so at pick 20. And because you're not in a tremendous place of need at all that many positions, man, I think you can move either way. You can move up potentially, or you can move down within reason. And I have no idea how Thursday's going to play out. No clue.
It's great. Yeah, it's great.
And I think that's pretty exciting. It's made for a little bit of a frustrating 3 months of coverage, right? Because you feel like we're on the same guys and the same topics, but at the end of the day, man, like we have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, it could be Walter Nolan with the 20th pick in the draft. It could be an offensive tackle. It really could be.
No, don't say that. But
think about it from this perspective. You have two really solid offensive tackles, but they're getting a little bit long in the tooth, right? Like neither one of those tackles are going to be playing 4 years from now. So I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility for, say, an Ariante Ursary from University of Minnesota at pick 20. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely possible. I think Henderson's probably way more possible than that, but we'll see. Ryan, what do you say about this? I know you touched on it a little bit. Defensive tackle?
Yeah, and again, I think that I like kind of what Sean said today is he talked about taking his quarterback off the high dive, and that includes adding on the defense, right? I mean, because if you have a good defense, obviously a good running game, those are just things that really help your entire team, which inherently helps your quarterback. So for me, I've been a big proponent of defensive line there because I just sort of feel like it's a position, again, that you rotate in. You're going to eventually need to get a little bit younger there anyways. I think they have aspirations, of course, to give Zach Allen an extension, but I don't know about John Franklin Myers. I don't know if that's something that they're serious about. So, and it sort of just depends a little bit on what's available, right? Ideally, again, me reading between the lines on some of the things they said today, I think that there's maybe a player or two that they have in mind there at pick 20, and if they're not there, they've got some offers to trade back. And the quarterback's position is going to be the one to watch there because the Steelers right behind you at 21. And another thing that George says that I've kind of been echoing over the last several months as we've been out at the combine and kind of doing our pre-draft prep is the grades on these guys from pick. I mean, George said from pick 10. I'd even go a little higher than that, but we're talking from pick 10 to pick 20, 25, even into the 30s. I honestly don't know if there's much of a difference. It's a weird draft in that respect. Usually we have like, hey, say top 15 are all kind of those blue chip players, those franchise altering players. That's not the case. There's only a few of those guys in this draft, and everybody else is kind of in what do you need, what specific maybe need or depth that you're trying to fill. So I think the Broncos are in a fantastic spot. If the Giants and the Browns want to jump up from the beginning of the second round, I think the Broncos are going to be wide open for business.
Yeah. I agree.
Ryan, let me ask you.
I know you're dying to say it.
Yeah,
Take
Ryan,
over the show now.
I'm going to ask you this question about what do you think Sean Payton meant when you alluded to his comment today from his presser about taking his quarterback off the high dive? What do you think that means?
Well, I mean, he said that about Russ when he first got here, as a reminder. But I think that's in his mind. It's not. I mean, some people might take that as like, okay, well, Bo Nix is maybe too much on his plate. I don't think I think it's the opposite. I think in a lot of ways he wants to continue to add to Bo Nix's plate because he thinks he can handle it. But the reality is you got to find multiple ways to be able to win. That was a problem for them at times last year. It did fall on Bo Nix to kind of create and do something special, and if he couldn't do that, then they were sunk. I think he wants to find multiple variations, and you see the best teams in the league, they do have that. Whether it is a mobile quarterback, obviously a deep running game or very strong running game, or multiple receivers. In this case for the Broncos, it was kind of Cortland Sutton. Sometimes Vele, sometimes Marvin Mims, especially late in the season, but that wasn't always consistent. You didn't have really any productivity from the tight end, and you certainly didn't have any productivity from the running back. Getting a chance to speak with some people out at the combine, the focus this year right away, tight end, running back, they are going to find ways to win with those positions this year. So that's why he keeps coming back to say the wide receiver is not really the high priority for us. It's not to say that they won't address it, and it's not to say that if, say, Ted McMillan falls to them at 20 that they wouldn't consider taking him there. It's just to understand that with the way they think they need to win right now is, hey, our wide receivers are pretty decent. We actually got some productivity out of them that we kind of remember being able to see out there with the Saints. We think we can do some similar things, but where we won and where we became multiple with the Saints was with our tight end and our running backs. And they didn't have that last year. And so that's why the focus is continuing to be on that.
I would say that Sean Payton can help Bo Nix come down from the high dive a little bit by committing to running the football.
Sure.
Off-season commitment, training camp commitment, certainly draft commitment, but you got the offensive line to be able to run the rock. Sure. And these are big, physical, gap scheme built types of offensive linemen. And so that to me is a way that your play action game gets better. Your RPO game gets better, because if that ground game is something that defenses have to respect on a consistent basis, and they are now threatened that Sean Payton at any point in time can call a run and will stick to it. I think that will make the possibility of any sophomore slump for Bo Nix leave the building, in my opinion.
Oh, I completely agree. And I mean, it's a commitment to, right? It's a commitment to, and it's a commitment to a running back that he loves. Yeah. Like that was the other thing last year. It is pretty evident by the way that they kept cycling those guys in and out. They never really loved a single one of those guys. But I think, this is an opportunity for Sean to handpick his running backs. And I'd say that maybe even in plural.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you're going to see that commitment and that renewed energy to the running back.
Yeah, it was strange today after the presser in the last few days. A lot of Twitter was like, we're going running back in the first. We're definitely going running back in the first. And it was just this little bit of me that with all the running back talk and all the that Sean's got somebody else in mind, like tight end, wide receiver, and he's going to surprise us all because he'll do that. But I personally hope I'd like to see Hampton fall to us there or something. But we'll see how that goes. I agree with that. I agree with the run game needs to happen. And speaking of that, is our boy Estime? Ryan, I send this to you first. I say, yeah, I think Estime does have an uphill battle to make the 53. I know that they want to like him. I don't have any inside information on this, but I did watch him get benched for Bidet for the Buffalo game. Brian, what do you say to that? Is he going to make the 53, or is he going to have to work for it?
Okay, well, there's some layers to that question.
I like layers.
I'd say we in the media probably read too much on things I've been told. We read too much into the Estime Bidet thing from that game. Now it's hard not to because it's actions over words, right? So the action is you benched your running back who actually had a couple of nice moments for you when you used him versus the guy coming off of IR who hadn't touched the ball and then evidently didn't really touch the ball very much against Buffalo.
2 carries.
It's hard to ignore that fact, but I've been told that is any kind of indication of how they actually feel about Audric Estime. But I'd say for the most part, all of these running backs are going to have something to prove. And again, it depends on a little bit on how they address it in the draft and maybe even with college free agents. That room is incomplete. They've acknowledged it's incomplete. They went as far to even tell us at the draft publicly, not just privately, that the offensive line was getting the job done and the running backs weren't. So there isn't a single person in the running back room that I would say, feel great about your spot. Everybody's going to compete, as they should, because that's football, that's the NFL, and a little bit has to do with what they ultimately add. But I don't think Audric Estime is in any worse situation, I guess is my point.
Okay, that's fair.
Any worse situation than anybody else in the roster in that room.
All right.
Audric
Coach,
Estime,
what do you say?
Well, I know this for a fact. Audric Estime is watching right now. He is a diehard follower of Mic'd Up Live. Loves Mike Carmelini.
Who isn't?
I mean, it's so Audric. I'm speaking specifically to you. Listen, master pass protection. Be an expert on every third down look that is out there in the National Football League, and be the best pass protecting back on this roster in training camp in the National Football League. You got the biceps to do it, brother.
You'll make the team.
Second thing, Audric. Dude, you look like Tarzan, brother. Beautiful creature. Play like it. Play like it on third down. Play like it when it's goal to go situations. Run behind those pads. If you do those two things, you make this roster. If you go 0 for 2 in those two things, you ain't making this roster, because we even heard it from KOA, the flagship's own, Ryan Edwards.
Flagship.
Might be running backs, plural, that are drafted.
Oh, yeah.
If plural happens, you're fighting for your football life there, Audric.
That's fair.
Master those two things, you're in good shape.
Well done. Well done. Thanks for watching.
He took the lead.
Please subscribe.
It was like it was prepared. Like he took,
it's almost like he was
right in front
playing
of
the game.
Yeah, with Colt Trickle on the outside. A little reference there to Days of Thunder.
Oh crap!
Just trading some paint. Just trading some paint with Ryan Edwards, man.
Hey, he stole the lead. Well done, Coach.
We're 3 wide right now. We're 3 wide.
Hey, do we care about any of this stuff? Really, tush push, moving the touchbacks to the 35, Coach? What do you say? Do we care about this stuff? Just play the game.
I would have loved for the touchback rule to be changed to the 40. Something I've been advocating for a while. Make it even more punitive. So that's my belief is I want to see this dynamic kickoff play out. And so I want to see what it looks like. I want to see the creativity that could go into this play. We saw it a little bit during training camp this past year in different ways that you could block it and fold schemes versus, zone schemes on it. But yeah, at the end of the day, this year was a waste of a year where the dynamic kickoff was the most static play in football because it was a touchback every play. I don't know, getting the ball at the 35. Tush push, it's a football play, guys. It's been around. It's the root of football. If you want look back at the black and white era of college and pro football, they played football this way. And the root being rugby, it's a rugby play. It's a rugby scrum. There's no way that play should ever be outlawed. Defend it better. And if you have a problem with it, then start running it and run it better than the Eagles or as well as they do.
Yeah. Love that. Ryan, what do you say?
I mean, it's perfectly said. I feel like the 35 was a half measure, honestly. Yeah. The incentive for these teams to do anything different than they were this last year is not much more significant. And I when they came out with 35, I knew they were going to do something. When they said the 35, I had a bit of an eye roll, like, all right, I mean, that's what it is. But it's like for NFL teams, they say, again, versus giving this thing the real chance to be a run back, well, fine, 5 more yards, whatever. I mean, but 40. Now, you go to the 40-yard line, I think you see some real change. But it's like the NFL does all the time. Love them to death. But the NFL is always very reactionary. And they'll see it's kind of the same numbers as last year, and they're gonna be like, "All right, well, I guess we'll do the 40 next year." they just want to kind of inch it forward. The tush push thing, I do think that's actually going away, which is really unfortunate. I agree, it's a football play. They keep arguing about the future injuries that might happen from it. I think that's
come
kind
on,
of a nonsense
such BS.
cop-out. Yeah, it's a nonsense cop-out, but the strong voices in that room, and there are enough of them, I guess, that are arguing about the future injuries of the play more so than the current ones, which is just blows my mind. But I think that because it only affects so many teams, they feel like that they can just get rid of it. I think if we obviously parity. And I think if a lot of teams could do this, which they can't, but if a lot of teams could do it at the effective level of the Eagles, then they would. And then I don't know if it would go away. But the fact is nobody can do it as well as they can. So now it's just like, you know what, Eagles, just you can figure something else out. We're just going to move on from this thing because somebody's going to get hurt eventually. So it's dumb that it's going to be gone, but it's going to be gone.
It's messed up because that's proving that it's not the play, it's the execution. And so they're talking out both sides of their mouth. So I kind of hate that.
When Tom Brady, when he was running the traditional QB sneak, it was undefendable. And he wasn't big or strong or he just had a great feel and knack. So it was the best 3rd and short and 4th and short team in pro football for 15 years was the New England Patriots because Tom Brady had such a great feel for the QB sneak and how defensive fronts worked and where the open gap was or, where to take the football on the sneak. They weren't looking to outlaw it then. So why now?
Yeah. Oh, it's injuries. Of course. All right.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's nonsense. I got to play my nonsense thing here. Where is it going? All right, guys, that's enough of that. I'm sorry I had to do that. We don't need to talk. We don't need to talk about it. I got in enough trouble for that already. I'm not.
Cecil catching strays tonight, huh?
All right. See, you had to say it. No, you didn't have to say that, Ryan. You could have just let it go. Maybe. So, let's do a little taboo. Coach, you won the toss, even though you weren't here. This is a new game. You weren't here last time. I have in my hands about 15 names of Broncos, current and past.
Okay.
I can tell you everything but their name and number. I'm going to get you to say as many of their names as I can. We got a minute to do it. You with me? You follow?
So it's just me.
It's just you.
Okay.
Ryan's got his own stack. You first.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Some of these are going to be easy. Some of these are going to be hard. I can feel it. Here we go. It's the pressure's on. I'm feeling like a little heat. Here we go. All right. He was a backup quarterback for Drew Lock. I think he went to Boise State.
Brett Rippon recruited him. Next.
He's Bo's backup now.
Jarrett Stidham.
Oh, he was our sack leader last year. He had a fumble for 6.
Nick Benito. Benito.
Late wide receiver. He was Peyton's favorite target. Caught
Demaryius
over.
Thomas.
He's a Super Bowl 32-33 guard. We call him Stink.
Mark Schlereth.
Oh, he was our head coach for that Super Bowl and should be in the Hall of Fame.
That's Mike Shanahan.
Oh, we just signed this tight end as our Joker ace.
The ace is Evan Ingram.
Okay, here we go. Our wide receiver 1-ish from last year.
Cortland Sutton.
He's a contract. These are so easy. The greatest tight end in Broncos history. Hall of Fame tight end.
Shannon Sharp.
Oh, he was our wide receiver opposite of Rod Smith. This is before your time. 2 Super Bowls. He's a real easygoing guy.
Ed McCaffrey.
Let's go. Oh, leading receiver. Oh, sorry. There's your timer. Oh, I think you did really good, bro. Let's go. Let's go. Where's my...
You were looking out for me. You know how bad I am with Broncos trivia that
do.
preceded
Yeah,
my
I
time.
do. Mine are going to be all like from the 60s or something, like way before my time.
Backup left guard on the 1963 Denver Broncos squad.
Jesus.
10. Now, the course record is held by Brandon Cristal. He got 12.
He's pretty good at trivia.
I'm not measuring him up. And this is a little different than trivia. Trivia questions are a little different. And actually, Cam Parker tied that with 12 too. I do want to give a shout out to him. Ryan Edwards. Oh, here we go. Now, I want 12. I want 13.
All right,
let's go for 13.
He'll do it. He's got it.
Now, I don't make these stacks, so don't blame me. My wife and my middle son make these stacks. All right, here we go. Whew. Feel a lot of pressure here. All right, you and me. I'm looking at this first one. Give me a chance to come up with a clue for this first one. Okay, here we go. Okay, we brought this quarterback in. He was a Ravens quarterback. He was in his prime. Oh, geez. He's an analyst now. His father was a Super Bowl winning quarterback in New York. He was our backup quarterback for a while. Blonde's good job. Undrafted free agent Super Bowl 50 running back. Anderson. Greatest wide receiver of all time for the Broncos. Undrafted. Greatest running back in the history of
Terrell Davis.
Oh my gosh. He was a first round defensive end in 97. He's in the Ring of Fame. The blank is right.
God.
He shares a name with Simeon. Pass. He was a Marine 4-year running back. Our Marine he would salute.
Mike Anderson.
Yes. Oh, he was the Thugalicious head coach, and we fired him.
Oh,
he was our head coach.
Oh, you're talking about Nathaniel Hackett?
There you go. Okay. He's our starting quarterback now.
Bro Nix.
Yes, we traded this one to Chicago.
Jay Cutler.
What the hell happened? What was the one that we passed? What happened? It was Trevor Price.
Oh, Trevor Price. Oh,
yeah. Did I give a bad?
That was a fairly deep cut right there.
Did I give a bad clue?
He's not in the
on
Ring
that?
of Fame though.
Did I give a bad cut? I
Yeah,
did. Did I say he was in the? Damn it! I screwed you.
Yeah, I was like 97 defensive end that's in the Ring of Fame. I was like, that's not.
Well, you know what?
That's okay.
That's what happens. It's not okay.
How many did you get?
Now. 8.
Oh, you had a lot different stack than I did.
I was gonna say, I feel like your stack was.
Although Edwards, I got to give you.
Now. I mean, we get the stack.
Edwards, I got to give you big time props. I think in your
read them.
In trying to spit out our current starting quarterback's name, I think you dropped a Bro Nix, which might be my new favorite nickname for Bro.
That wasn't even an accident. No,
it was good. Bro Nix, baby.
I love that. I love it. Well, apologies to both of you. I know that I'm at least halfway responsible for your scores here, and as Coach Mike said, he has taken the lead because he knows how to play this game. Gosh, I'm so upset about that. I wanted 12. Let's I wanted to ask you guys. I asked the guys last week about this. Sean Payton I think he's 61. We've got a 73-year-old, I think, in LA. I mean, how long do you think Sean's going to coach? He's going to want to win.
Who's the 73-year-old in LA?
Pete Carroll, Las Vegas.
Pete Carroll,
Las
Vegas. Yeah, I never know where he is, but yes, Vegas.
It's also hard to know where the Raiders are.
I said Oakland a couple weeks ago, so
yeah, it's fine.
I'm still getting caught up.
Vegas doesn't claim him, so Doesn't count.
Yeah. So what do you say? How long do you think Sean Payton will coach? Ryan, let's start with you.
Until he wins.
I mean, these are all
Super Bowl.
guesses, right?
Yeah, he's got to win another Super Bowl. He wants to be that coach that wins at 2 different places. So, he signed a 5-year deal. He's in year 3 of that. I think I see sort of assess there. I'd say, you get to your sort of mid-60s, but he still got a lot of energy, got a lot of vigor. I think, some of it's probably tied to Bo Nix. And if Bo,
exactly,
Bro, as some people
Bro
call him,
Nix, let's go.
If Bo ends up becoming the guy that we think he might have a chance to be, and he continues this trajectory of play, I could see Sean sticking around for it. And sort of revitalizes him. But if Bo kind of hits a bit of a ceiling and maybe hits sort of a tipping point and things don't work out, then maybe he's like, I don't really want to start over again. I really do think some of his future is kind of tied to Bo, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. Coach, what do you think?
I'd set the over/under at 4 years, 4 more seasons.
From now. 4 more seasons.
4 seasons going forward. And I think it's perfect what Ryan said, that it is tied to Bro Nix, directly linked to the second contract. I think if Bo Nix gets to the point where he gets his second contract, I think Sean Payton's coaching him at least in his first 2 years of that next contract. If there is indeed a sophomore slump, which I don't see it's going to happen. The reason I don't see it happening is because I think Bo Nix is so stinking grounded. He is who he is. He's a worker. That's why I think he's a great fit for Sean Payton. Sean Payton wanted to have a throwback at the position. And there really aren't many quarterbacks in the National Football League today that you could say that's exactly what a starting quarterback in, 7 to 15 years ago was, how they were wired. And I think that's the type of wiring that Sean Payton loves coaching. And so as a result, I think that they will continue to go as far as each other will take them. And I do think Sean's I know this firsthand, being a head football coach, it does take it out of you. And if the standard is not where he wants it to be in back-to-back years, I don't know that he continues in a third year.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I like it. Actually, I don't like it, but I agree with it. I know he wants to prove everyone wrong with Bro Nix, and he's the smartest guy in the room. Just ask him. I love him. But Coach, if you could take any player in the draft, would it be Travis? I was curious if it was going to be Genty or Travis.
Now, are we going from a Broncos perspective? Or are we going from a I am a coach at X?
What the hell show do you think you're on, Coach?
I know.
But
the question:
you used sophomore slump twice. You used sophomore slump twice, and you had to ask, what team I was talking about. So that's 2 points. 2-point deduct. Sorry. Go ahead.
Travis Hunter.
Still Travis Hunter. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I would use him as a sub. I'd use him as a sub package nickel guy, and it would fit really well with Vance Joseph's scheme because of the high number of snaps of man coverage. So you don't have to teach intricate zone schemes. And so I think Travis Hunter could be a part-time defensive player that could function as a shutdown nickel player, nickel and or just travel with an elite receiver. And I think he really is the best wide receiver in this draft class by a country mile. He is got the best ball skills on this side of Justin Jefferson in the National Football League, the first snap that he takes. And I think he is an elite talent, and I don't know that we'll ever see one like him again.
Yeah, that's crazy because I had it just the opposite. And I agree with the wide receiver take, but I had it just the opposite. I thought it would take more to learn the defense and be part of the defense, and then you could just give him some routes and packages on offense. But you're saying the other way. You would have him as a starting wide receiver, and then throw in some nickel and dime packages for him on defense. Yeah, I love that. That's interesting. Ryan, what do you say to that? Who would you take in the draft, and why is it Travis?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's cheating a little bit. Just gonna say that. Boy, those red zone drills with Travis both sides. I mean, God.
I know. Crazy, right?
Just geek out a little bit. But no, I won't cheat. like Coach did. I do think that if Ashton Janney slips to a certain spot, I really do think they like him a lot. So, again, maybe that's also cheating because he probably won't get far enough. But that's a can't miss running back. Nice, look at that. I think he's as close to a can't miss player in this draft that the Broncos will be in range for. And as I mentioned at the beginning, there's only so many of them. I think Abdul Carter's in that conversation, Travis Hunter's in that conversation.
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of about it for me. I think the drop-off is significant after that, but I think Ashton Janney really has a chance to be in that conversation. He's a tough tackle, as we all know. We've watched him. His contact balance is unbelievable. And I just think that with you add Ashton Janney to this team, and that adds 2 wins to your team, like overnight.
Wow.
That's
2-win player.
That's one player. And again, it could be more. I'm just saying baseline, you are 2 wins better if you get Ashton Janney on Thursday night.
Wow. Well done. Yeah, I love both those. I don't think there's a wrong answer with either of those two. I'm not sure Carter would be one, but Janty or Travis, wow. You imagine being Cleveland and blowing that? Isn't it Cleveland that everybody's talking about? Like, you imagine them like going OT or something, like just, or trading that away and like, oh my gosh. Yeah. But then there's people talking about they're going to get Shador and him. Like somehow they're going to trade back in and get them both. How crazy would that be? Kind of a
pick 20.
I almost feel sorry for Cleveland.
We're open for business. So. Pick 20.
Yeah, we are open for business, aren't we? All right. Well,
why don't the Titans take Travis Hunter?
Because they're
probably
QB
should.
needy.
Yeah, they probably should. I think, you sort of talk yourself into you're not going to be in that range. Again, you hope, right? If you do things the right way, you got a new coach. New coach from last year, but you got a new coach. You got a new GM. You get a chance to sort of cement something, and you're not going to have the first overall pick again next year. You hope. So I get the logic, but you're right. Like if I was a GM in that situation, I'd be like, I got Travis Hunter, who I think will be a hit no matter where you play him. And then next year's draft quarterback class could be better.
Yeah.
Why not just take a play? I think that's what the Giants are going to do. I think the Giants are just going to take Abdul Carter because they're in that mindset. Like, hey, we can take somebody in the second round, but we already hedged with a couple of vets. There's just no reason to reach there and take somebody that we're just sort of okay on. Let's take what we believe is close to a can't miss prospect, and that's kind of what I would do. But every GM and coach are in different position than the next, right?
Yeah. And how fortunate are the Broncos that we did not kick the can down the road one more year. I got so tired last year of hearing fill these positions. You can always get your quarterback later, and it's like, hey, act like those things you can just go to 7-Eleven and buy one. Like it has to be the right fit. Yeah, you just. And I'm sorry, but I was never on board with that. I was always draft him until you find him. And if he's not the one, draft another one. And just because it just doesn't matter until you get it. And I'm so glad that we're not sitting here this year trying to figure out if whatever his name, Jackson Dart, or, these guys might be the one. Like it's just, we're in a good place. So,
quarterbacks hopefully. 3 through 6 are not NFL starting quarterbacks. Right. I don't know if QB1 in this draft class, as everybody calls it, is a NFL starting quarterback.
I've already said I was out on him, but I'm not a professional, but I look for something to see. Like as someone who's watched enough football and talked enough with the guys I know, I kind of know what to look for, but I'm not an analyst and I've never claimed to be, nor do I pretend to be, but I went and watched him just to see. And I was like, okay, well, he's all right. But
you're talking about Cam Ward?
Yeah. I was like, he does some things good, but he looks like a middle round. Like on some years, he looks like a second round draft pick to me. I don't know. I think it's just it's not a good year to pick a quarterback. So good luck with it. I'm glad it's not us. Was there anybody in free agency that got away that you wish we would have signed this year? Kind of now it seems like early in the year, it seemed like, yes, I wanted that guy. But now that free agency's kind of done, I'm kind of like happy with what happened. Coach, what do you think? I'm like, the spoils the riches. I mean, I kind of feel good about it, but I can't really think of anybody that got away now. Like at the time, it seemed like we were losing, the free agents and getting the ones, but it's all panic mode. Like we're good, right?
Highly unpopular take coming.
Oh,
Javonte Williams is what I thought he was an incredibly valuable piece in the role that he was adopting, and I think taking on, which is
Ryan role.
It's that role that I described for Audric Estime, the third down pass protecting savant, and he was so good at it. He didn't show any type of bad body language because his carries were being taken away on first and second down. That's a hard guy to find, guys. And I don't know that you have that right now on your roster. I don't know if you can go out and get it via draft necessarily, because a lot goes into training a running back in the mental aspect of picking up blitzes. And a lot of these college offenses now are so dumbed down. They're so dumb because it's all about being able to get transfer portal players plug and play with simple schemes. So third down pass protecting backs, they don't grow on trees. And you got to remember, last year you lost 2 of them. Samaje Perine was that guy. He was gone.
Yeah.
And then Javonte Williams took over that role. I think the role that he played was way more important, and I don't think anybody could look past his lack of production as a workhorse starting running back in order to see his value as a third down tailback.
Yeah. And I've said it on every show for the last probably month. I still believe the Broncos need to sign a vet running back, and he doesn't have to be a great running back, but he needs a little experience in picking up the blitz. And I'm not changing my mind. And I think they will do that. I do. I still predict they will. I don't care who they draft. They'll bring somebody in. Ryan, what do you say to that? Anybody, free agents that you that we whiffed on maybe?
I mean, I like the Javonte take because I do think he was a little more underrated than people wanted to admit. But again, it's part of the plan because they knew they were going to go running back pretty heavy. Sorry, my kitten is like attacking my leg.
We're cat friendly here.
Yeah. Initially, some of the linebackers coming off the board made me a little nervous that we weren't going to get an off the ball linebacker. But obviously that ended up being okay. If I was going to pick one that I was kind of intrigued by, I kind of want to see what Chris Godwin could have been here.
Oh, that's a good name.
And then again, he went back to Tampa Bay, and then that's fine. But it just, Sean kept saying, "Oh, our wide receiver room's fine. Our wide receiver room's fine." It's okay, that's right. But it just thinking about how reliable of a pass catcher and how consistently good he is every single year. And he was coming off an injury, but I thought coming off an injury might help bring him here, and maybe you get a bit of a discount there. But that's just a name that, I remember early on in the process, that's one of those deals where it's like, man, him opposite Cortland Sutton, or if they decide not to retain Cortland Sutton and you go into the draft, and there's some options there, but I think he would have been just so reliable for Bo, and that would have been a fun wide receiver that I think for Sean. He's just such a crisp route runner. He can really do everything, and he produces every single year. He's not considered a wide receiver one, but he's shown that if you have to be that, then you can. I would have been interested to see him.
Yeah, there was remember, it wasn't that long ago that every wide receiver was going to be a Bronco for a while there in Broncos Twitter, right? And on the air too. It was everybody that was, hey, it could be this guy, it could be that guy. And yeah, I've already forgotten all that, but yeah, we were after every wide receiver, and Godwin probably one of the bunch. But remember, the T. Higgins talk, we were going to go get him, and who's the guy that went to Seattle? The guy from the Rams, right? He was all the rage for a while. I can't think of his name. I've already forgotten him.
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. Yeah, I mean, so it was it's kind of nice, but I do like how Mims came on late. But I still think they make a move for wide receiver in the draft here. We'll see. I don't trust Sean. He's in fact, let's go right to that. Are you buying Mims, Coach?
Yes.
You see enough from him late in the season? You excited about him?
I am buying Mims. I think that Sean's been playing a bit of a, pun intended, cat and mouse game with Marvin Mims with regards to prove to me that you're dependable. Prove to me that you know everything schematically so that I can move you around and use you as a chess piece. I think it's taken the better part of 2 seasons to get to that point. And I think we got to that point at the tail end of last season going into the postseason. I love the speed.
Wow.
I love ball in hand capabilities. We will know if Sean is fully bought in to a Marvin Mims if he doesn't select Luther Burden.
Whoa.
I think Luther
Burden's the one?
If you pick Luther Burden,
Wow.
then you're investing in maybe an upgraded version of the slot that can run the rock, put the ball in his hands, bigger, more physical. And you're saying Marvin Mims isn't the Deebo Samuel type role that you see for him. But I think Sean Payton's going to double down on Marvin Mims, and I think you should.
I think so.
Wow, that's a great take. That's interesting. I did not see that coming. Ryan, what do you say to that? Mims?
I mean, it's interesting that Luther Burden is that guy. He's kind of a gadget, receiver. I think he's, it was a tough year last year for that offense. I think we oftentimes look at that and say, boy, are we sure he's that great? He's that great. Luther Burden is that dude. But
really
I'd rather go if we're going like slot, I'd rather go Ibuka. I mean, that'd be my dude. And I think they're going to be kind of drafted in the similar range. So, and again, you're talking about, for me, Ibuka does all the small things too, right? I mean, he's a good blocker. Like, he's a captain. He's a leader. He's one of the all-time receivers. I mean, you think about the lineage of receivers at Ohio State, and he's got like the yards for that college.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing to talk about. And some people are like, "Is he going to be a first rounder?" I'm like, absolutely should be a first rounder. So Emeka Ibuka would be my pick. But again, that's not necessarily a replacement for Marvin Mims, like you were talking about with Luther Burden. But if I'm going for a slot, that'd be my pick there. But no, I am buying Marvin Mims in the sense that they finally figured out that he was on the roster in the second half of the season.
I know,
If
right?
it would have been the first half of the season, like if we'd have flipped this and said Marvin Mims was great early and then they stopped using him, then I think we'd have a different conversation. But it was the other way around. They figured him out in the second half. They're like, huh, did you guys know this guy could like run this like a 4.3 and like he flies and oh my God, he's a Pro Bowler and an All Pro return. I mean,
he catches the ball if he runs the right route.
Yeah. So let's use him.
He's got juice, man. He's got juice.
Yeah.
Emeka Ibuka is, I think that you described perfectly a guy that Sean Payton would love to have in his wide receiver room. Kind of a little bit in the sense, a little bit like Lil Jordan Humphrey, totally different body types.
Of course.
Lil Jordan Humphrey was do all the little things that nobody else wants to do. Those dirty jobs, right? The perimeter blocking, the chip release on third down, stuff that a receiver typically doesn't do. Emeka Ibuka is just a better wide receiver.
Yep.
But a lot of those characteristics that you described, Ryan, they do kind of scream that he's probably going to slide a little bit. And he potentially could be a second round pick. It would not surprise me because of the physical attributes just aren't really off the charts.
Yeah.
He's just a really good player. And a lot of times those types of guys do find themselves in the second round.
The safe pick at wide receiver often does end up in the second round, but I think he's a first round talent personally. I like him a lot. Like, I think he'd be a great fit for the Broncos there. It wouldn't bother me one bit, but yeah. Was it Burden? He's like a little playmaker though. He's kind of fun to watch. Like he would be fun.
He's small, but he plays 6'5".
Yeah.
He plays ball in the air. That dude he's as good as it gets in terms of physically using his body, and he's got thick lowers. He'll go up and
oh my God, he's the lower half, man. Like, good luck tackling that dude.
Yeah, you saw him. You saw him at the combine. That dude's gifted.
And like, he's playing against good competition too, right? He's not like out there playing against the JV guys. I mean, he did this damage against some good teams. So projects. Speaking of projecting, geez, this is a long show, guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. We gotta get you through here. You got a cat and kids to take care of, Ryan. Are the Broncos a top 10 team next year? Coach, 2025, are they going to be a top 10 team? Did I ask you this last time you were on?
I don't think so. I believe that wholeheartedly. The Broncos will be a top 10 team. And the reason why is that they're going to have a top 3 defense, possibly top 2 defense. You got better defensively on a team that already was in every statistical category, a top 5 defense. Yeah. And I think that if Sean Payton commits to the run game and gets his guy in the draft at the running back position, I think the Denver Broncos are potentially a top 5 team because I think that type of defense paired with a young quarterback that does the things that the head coach wants him to do and does him exceptionally well. And now you pair it with a run game. I think this team can win. I think this team can make some serious noise. And frankly, if you're not a top 10 team, I think this is an abject failure in 2025.
Oh, well, I like that. A little pressure, a little optimism.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, I'm just saying, your top 10. I mean, there's some teams out there, Coach. I mean, we gotta get to the playoffs. Let's win a playoff game. But Ryan, what do you say? Top 10 team? Are the Broncos going to be a top 10 team? What does that mean? Like we're going to be second in the division. We're going to be a 5th seed, maybe something like that. Like we're not going to, because we were 14th last year, right? So we got to move up 4 spots.
Coach is he can't help but do half measures. I don't understand why. Maybe it's because he's already afraid of Cherry Creek.
Oh my God.
but no, they're going to win the division. They're going to win the AFC West.
Oh my God.
And they will be a top 4 team, maybe even top 3 team in the AFC. Yes, I'm very bullish on their future. We're all bullish. It's fun to be bullish here in April. When it's all kind of in front of you. But the fact is, yeah, I mean, you're just sort of get to a chance to dream based on the success that you had last year and the fact that you are a better roster now. I think you did bring up one interesting point, Coach, just more specifically about, the level that the defense can be at. They were already one of the best defenses in the league. That doesn't always translate year in, year out. So the offense might get better, but the defense may not stay the same, if not could fall off a little bit. So that's where you kind of have to find that balance. But if you think if the offense is giving you multiple ways to win, where you're not leaning on the defense, especially earlier in the season, right? Maybe you're picking up some of those wins that you could have had last year that you didn't get. You're going to put yourself in a more advantageous position there in December. And I like them to win the AFC West this year.
Wow. Let's go. Ryan came in strong. He knows his host.
My wife's family's from the Bay Area, and talking about that defensive and what you did defensively from last year to this year. My brother-in-law's a diehard Niners fan, and he's a football coach. He coaches at BYU, follows the Niners very closely. He talks about the tandem of Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw like Colorado Avalanche fans talk about Val Nichushkin. Right. When those two were in the lineup, they were a dominant defense. When those two were out of the lineup by way of injury, they were not the same defense whatsoever. And I think they're the straw that stirs the drink. I think they are dynamic additions. And I think you got significantly better on a defense that was already very good.
Yeah. Yep. Love it. Love the show. Love what you guys brought. Let's finish it out. We got a tie ball game. Let's see if we can break the tie. Let's just see if we can break the tie. And not like that, Coach. We compete here. Well, we can do it that way.
Hold on. Let's go, baby.
You guys are idiots.
Wait, hold on. I got to time it up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, you went late.
No, that was real time right there, man.
I'm not sure that was late.
Hey, move the needle right there. I don't see that number coming up. There it is.
Well, we can do it that way too, folks. We don't even have to do the debate. But I'm going to ask you anyway because I'm curious. I say that who was the MVP of the team last year, Ryan? What would you say on that? Just off the cuff. If you had to pick one player as your MVP.
That's not somebody that's not Bo Nix, probably.
It better be Bo Nix if you ever want to be on this show
I feel like
again.
That would be. I'm not saying.
I probably shouldn't have said that because I know you don't want to be on this show again. It's Bo Nix, right?
Well, it's not that. No. Nick Bonito would be my MVP.
So good.
That'd be the other one, yeah.
And again, Pat Surtain. I mean, I want to.
He's the defensive player of the year.
He's the best player on the team, but is he the most valuable?
But there was just some special. Like Pat Surtain has a level of expectation. Like it's sort of he has to kind of match that, and that is impressive that he was able to do that and be as great as he was and win defensive MVP. But Nick Bonito, for a lot of people, came out of nowhere, and obviously had the 2 touchdowns in the game, and that were significant. So I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of guys, Zach Allen, I think, can be in that conversation. Yeah. I think that you could talk about, even some guys on the offensive line. And I mean, there were some moments for everybody, and it kind of it's football, right? It takes everybody. But I just off the board, it's kind of like the non-obvious. I'd say Nick Bonito's in that conversation.
Coach, what do you say to that? Who's your MVP?
I'm going to go with an MVB, as in most valuable bro, and it was definitely Bo Nix, because it came with a lot of scrutiny, right? The pick of Bo Nix at pick 12 as the 6th quarterback taken in the draft. What are you doing, Sean? The heck are you doing? The fact that you hit on Bo Nix and you feel a certain type of way about Bo Nix at this stage is why this draft is so exciting. It's so fun because everything now is it's the cherry on top of what, when you do find your quarterback and it's a foundational piece, you build off of that. I was a doubter. I was a skeptic until about week 4 of the season. And that's when I started to really change. And I think it's what he has between the ears and just his overall mentality that I feel so good about the foundation of your quarterback for what you can do year in, year out with him.
Yeah. The reason I asked that question is because it's actually kind of difficult to answer, isn't it? Like, we have a lot of really good, impactful players on the Broncos again, and it happened pretty quickly. I think it's fascinating. You can always debate how you vote MVP based on, well, the quarterback's the most important position, blah, 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 because that's where it kind of gets messed up. But my pick would be Bo Nix, but like, certainly PS2 is probably not even arguably our best player. And then you throw in Zach and Nick Benito and it becomes difficult, and it's nice that in combination of not really caring that much about who we draft or pick up in the remainder of free agency. Broncos country's sitting in a great place, and I couldn't be more excited. And I couldn't be more excited for you gentlemen to come on the show tonight. It was wonderful. I know it was a long week for both of you, some more than others, a long drive in the snow for you, Coach. But Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. Ryan Edwards, KOA Radio, Coach Mike Sanford, Altitude Sports Radio. Gentlemen, thank you for a wonderful show. You know what? I'm not doing it. I'm not having a winner tonight. It was too good. It was too close. I'm benevolent. I'm your benevolent host tonight, and I will see all of you on Mic'd Up next week. Take care, everybody.